patients describing his exemplary care and devotion, and the usual word that my father uses when describing my grandfather is superhuman. My father was also a general pediatrician. He had a solo practice in New York while I was growing up. I grew up watching him take care of his patients in the office and on the phone. Sometimes I would be the first one to answer the phone at 3 in the morning when the answering service called. I remember the pride he had in the care he gave his patients from a very young age, and I wouldn't say it was preordained that I would also enter pediatrics, but I had a feeling from the day I entered medical school at the University of Pennsylvania that I would indeed also go in that direction. And so, here I am, a board-certified third-generation pediatrician, with a personal family history that I am certainly proud of. It also means that I have enormous shoes to fill. But I love what I do, and every day I consider myself fortunate and privileged to be a pediatrician, to be able to share my knowledge and resources and work so closely with families in taking care of a child. A physician gains an unusual close-up insight into the lives of families that they work with. It truly is a privilege being a physician and a pediatrician. I get asked quite often, how does one become a pediatrician? Well, you complete 3 years of pediatrics residency training after medical school, after which you can enter a practice and take the boards to become a board-certified pediatrician. And so after finishing my residency, I worked for a wonderful general pediatrics practice in New Jersey, and I worked there for several years. I think the parents I worked with taught me more about parenting and general pediatrics than what I learned in all my previous years of training. All I had to do was just listen to them. Their stories are humorous, inspiring, and just plain amazing to listen to. They also taught me that there are many, many ways to successfully raise a child, and that you just need to get a few basic concepts down, that of love, devotion, and caring for your child, and everything else generally falls into place. I ended up at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine because I had a terrific opportunity to pursue additional training in community health and primary care research. And I intend to use my additional training to help make primary care better for communities, not just one patient at a time. I should also mention the most important parts of my life, that I am very happily married and I have 2 young daughters, one school age, one a toddler. They are the most amazing kids. They are funny, they're smart, happy, spontaneous. They make us laugh constantly, and yes, they are occasionally absolutely maddening and flabbergasting. But we love them. I've been asked many times what it is like to be a pediatrician parent. It's an interesting question. That extra bit of knowledge that we have can be a blessing and a curse. When my children have garden variety basic illnesses and fevers, I shrug them off. Congested for 3 days, no problem. Fever for 4 days, no problem. But when they have more serious illnesses, the mind races along, thinks about all sorts of weird scenarios. And between the 2 kids, they've definitely given us a few illnesses beyond the usual and a run for the money. I certainly do think one can be a terrific children's doctor without being a parent, and I have many colleagues who are. But what I have learned is that parents are human. Certain things about the way parents react and feel can't be explained, and all the knowledge in the world doesn't always counteract raw emotions. Parents always want the best for the child, bar none, and sometimes they'll stop at nothing. And parents aren't always perfect, but they're certainly trying their hardest. And I also know what it's like to be awake with a screaming child at 3 in the morning. I know what it's like to take care of a feverish and miserable baby when the only thing you can do is wait for a few more days. I know what it's like to always wonder if you're doing the right thing. And I also understand the most bizarre reactions and questions come to mind during these stressful times. The advice that I give has to be practical and be tailored to your child and you. We are partners in this respect. And one other interesting side benefit of having young children is I tend to hang out with a lot of parents of young children, and I hear all the parenting stories that you don't always hear about in the office. So that's another perspective that I find invaluable. What this all adds up to is that I have a lot of stories to share, a lot of knowledge that I've picked up over the years, and a perspective that I hope you find useful. I love to teach, and I love to work with parents. If I had an unlimited amount of time to talk over parenting, I take advantage of it, and I frequently do. When I'm out at a social event, I get asked about parenting, and I get asked about medical advice all the time, and I usually get a lot of apologies because I'm supposed to be off duty. But my own wife is the first to pipe up and say, "Go ahead, ask him the question. He likes talking about this stuff."